everyone and welcome back. So today we're talking about A Promising Young Woman. If you haven't seen it, I would recommend you pause this video, go watch it, and then come back. And this is a movie that I've been thinking about for quite some time. I literally have watched it 3 times, and each time my opinion changes. So what is this movie about? Well, it's about exactly that. A promising young woman by the name of Cassie, who after a traumatizing event at medical school, is really unable to navigate through her grief enough to get her life back on track. So it stars Carey Mulligan, and Carey Mulligan is someone who will forever have a place in my heart because of An Education, which was on Netflix for a period of time, but this is a movie you should go watch. And ever since I saw that, Carey Mulligan has been like, she'll always be special to me. So this movie is ambitious, and there's a lot of things I liked about it. So first, it's very timely. It kind of speaks to this kind of Me Too era. Cassie literally goes out every night. She picks a different bar, pretends to be completely drunk, allows these guys to kind of take her home, and just when they're about to assault her, she scares the shit out of them with her sobriety. And at the start of this movie, you're like, yeah, like, yes, let's go. Like, this is so, and then by the end of it, you're like, I don't know how I feel anymore. I also really like the vibrancy of the movie and like the color palette. I mean, there's this whole running theme of appearances can be deceiving, because you have Cassie who is, you know, on the outside looking in, she has all the promise in the world. Even the way the movie is kind of dressed, you could say, like she wears all these bright colors and everybody just seems so jovial and happy. But on the inside, she's just dealing with a lot of trauma. And I think aesthetically, it's one of the most aesthetically pleasing movies I've seen in a long time. And for me, the most aesthetically pleasing moment was when they dropped like Stars Are Blind by Paris Hilton. And this like transported me back. I mean, this song is a banger, right? Even though the gods are crazy, even though the stars are blind, if you show me real love, baby, I'll show you my, you know, I've been playing this song in my car every morning, and it's a classic. Like, I don't know why we hated Paris Hilton before, but y'all, she's pretty good. And now to the best/worst part of this movie, which is this commentary on the nice guy. And the nice guy, you guys let me know, for those of you who watched it, I didn't believe this guy for a second. I didn't believe anything this man was saying. Not everyone who smiles at you is your friend. And he was just, actually a better twist would have been if he was actually a nice guy, in my opinion, because I was just waiting for him to mess up. However, I do like how they used this character, or Cassie's love interest, because it kind of allowed for this character development to happen. And you see that Cassie is clearly not somebody who wants to spend the rest of her life going around pretending to be drunk and kind of like catching these guys in the act. And so she kind of meets this guy from her past, and they're going out, and for her this is like an opportunity to perhaps start over, kind of a way out of this mess. And you know, here you have somebody from her past who reminds her of her promise again. You know, she was a promising medical student. He seems super supportive. He seems super like, you know, like, yeah, you were so smart, you were so great, you were so this and that. And it kind of, you see that like she's really believing it. And it's really interesting, the ending of this film, because I feel like had this nice guy acknowledged the hurt that he had caused and the trauma, like Cassie possibly would have even accepted his apology. But alas, that's just not what happens, right? So towards the end of the movie, she realizes this guy is not really who he says is not really who she thought he was, and this kind of sends her spiraling. So she realizes this guy isn't so nice, and this takes us to kind of the end of the film. And this movie has a lot of mixed feelings. Like, I'm not gonna lie, you're either gonna be like, I don't know, I don't like that at all, or you're gonna love it. There's really no two ways about it. And so for me, like, hear me out, okay? I'll tell you why I feel like the ending worked. I think revenge is ultimately like self-serving. It's never really about the person being avenged. And so you see that through Cassie, right? Like, everything's fine. There's light at the end of the tunnel. And then when she realizes this guy isn't as nice as she thought he was, she essentially lets the anger completely consume her, right? And it consumes her to the point where even as she's getting her revenge for what had happened in medical school, like, she doesn't even sedate the guy, right? Like, she doesn't even, there's no logic to it, right? Like, he was always gonna break away. Like, this whole sequence was never gonna turn out well. Like, there was no sense to any of it. And I think watching Cassie's hope kind of completely disappear, that ending was appropriate. It was quite sombering, and ultimately it just kind of shows how Cassie was this person with like all the promise in the world. And sometimes in life, sadly, promises, one's promise is not fulfilled. So I said what I said. This is my opinion. Again, I really respect the film's ambition. I really like this kind of appearances can be deceiving. Again, you have Cassie, who's someone who seems like, again, she has all the promise in the world. She can do anything she wants, but she can't really navigate through her grief. And even with this nice guy, right? And this nice guy is where I had some issues, because initially I was like, this is crazy. Like, really? Like, the way he's even revealed to not be that nice of a guy, he literally calls her a failure. And I was just like, really though? But you guys let me know. I think it actually would have been unrealistic if he was the nice guy, because guys like this do exist, and they kind of masquerade as having your best interests at heart. And sadly, they just don't. And guys like this are actually quite dangerous, and they exist. The other thing about this nice guy sort of commentary, it's not just isolated to her love interest. Like, even the guys that she takes home, I mean, there is no prototype for what an assailant looks like, right? Like, there's no such thing as, sometimes we have this idea in our minds, like, oh, stay away from that guy, or he seems like this or that. But Adam Brody right at the start, like, really surprised me, because I didn't think he was gonna go for it. Like, I really thought he was a nice guy. Like, I thought he was just making sure she got home safe. And even his friends, right? Like, I would have bet money those guys definitely would have done it. And they probably would have, but again, even when you look at the guys that she kind of takes home or allows herself to kind of be taken home, they don't fit any type of anything, right? Like, they just seem like regular guys. They don't look like assailants. And again, there's no prototype for this. So I do like how this theme kind of carried out. This is kind of how I rationalize why I like the ending. So again, for those of you who didn't like it, you didn't like it. Like, and I totally understand why you wouldn't. Like, 100% I understand your point of view. For those of you who liked it, you let me know. Do you think that the film's ambition matched its execution? Because I feel like there was a lot of ideas here. Whether or not they hit the mark, you let me know. And if you feel like they hit the mark, what is it that convinced you either about the pacing or about the character development that had you at the end going, okay, yeah, that was it. Anyways, I said what I said. Let me know what you think, and until next time.